So, son of Hamas, Mossab Youssef, who is the son of one of Hamas's co-founders and leaders, Hassan Youssef, spoke at Columbia University. It was arranged by Students Supporting Israel, SSI, and I want you to see this clip of an anti-Israel student confronting him and watch how he responds.
Sure. So you talk about being pulled by the currents of political ideology. I can agree with you. I can agree with you, right, that being pulled by the political ideology of Islamism is completely incorrect and immoral. But it seems as though you haven't really dived too deep below the waters, and it seems that you're being pulled by a different current and a different ideology. And I think the ideology that you're preaching here is in more than one way Islamophobic. And let me explain to you why I believe so. I will equally condemn Hamas right here on the spot, so we can all be clear in this room, right? Thank you for that. But what you are saying, right? And you talk about the treatment of blacks, you talk about the treatment of women, right? You talk about the only democracy in the Middle East. You talk about Arab inability to forge nations, to forge countries. You talk about the lack of existence of a Palestinian.
Don't only talk about it.
I understand. That's you're making my point for me. Thank you. You talk about the lack of existence of a Palestinian identity, and with all due respect, I know you're Palestinian, or some would say that you are. So you have a right to, disavow yourself of that. But you do not have a right to tell other people that their identity does not exist. I believe that it is incorrect, it is immoral to say what identities do and do not exist, to dictate. That is almost the definition of being a bigot, right? And I'm not trying to name call right now, I'm just trying to call it how I see it, right? And so if we can both agree that we're going to condemn Hamas, but also equally refrain from being Orientalist, refrain from being Islamophobic, then we can have a productive conversation. But I am sorry, sir, your rhetoric is inflammatory.
I'd be interested to know, by the way, so when the Germans said in World War II, we are the master race, would he consider it bigoted to say that's racist and wrongful statement? Would he say that? Would that make him a bigot for saying that? Very weird logic.
You trade in fear. You trade in fear.
No, you're accusing me. You're accusing me.
Closing point.
It's your point to just accuse me.
Closing point.
Okay.
I'm calling it how I see it, so feel free to retort. But this is my last point. So Samuel Huntington has this idea of the clash of civilizations, right? And I saw you spoke to Sam Harris. Sam Harris subscribes to this idea as well. But you portray this idea of the Islam versus the West. And I think this is a very, very dangerous idea. If we're both talking about Islamists, right, we can kind of get on the same page. But you say Islamist, but in your rhetoric you describe the Islamic civilization generally, proper, right? So let's just make sure we're getting clear about that. But I think that is inflammatory. I think that you're trading in fear, and I think that is very, very harmful. And that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, well, look, you can call somebody who's not familiar with the phenomena that they have a phobia of that. Like someone has a phobia of something that is unknown to them. You can say that. You can say this about anybody who did not grow up in that region. But as someone who went to a Sharia school, someone who memorized huge portions of the Quran, someone who speaks the classic Arabic, someone who studied so many Islamic denominations, you cannot accuse them. Are you listening to my answer? You see, you're busy right now, right? Suddenly you're busy.
Listen, I heard exactly what you had to say, and I agree. Islamophobic.
But you want to debate me right now?
Maybe after.
You want to debate me? Then you need to listen to me until I finish.
Please.
Sit down and listen. Okay. So I speak on experience, much longer experience than your experience combined. Not to reduce you, but have you been to a Sharia school? No, but you haven't. Have you studied the Sharia? Have you studied the Sharia, the 4 major books of legislation? Have you studied them? So name the 4 main sources of Islam. Why you cannot do it? You said that you studied it.
The world is full of lies.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bear criminal responsibility.
The truth is under attack.
Which river, which sea? So you don't know the answer.
From the media to the UN to celebrities, lies reign supreme. But the thing about the truth is that no matter how dark a room of lies, if you light one candle of truth, it can light up the whole room. That's why I created JTV, the global Jewish YouTube channel. We have been lighting the flame of truth on social media. We believe that the key to defeating anti-Semitism isn't just in fighting the hate, but it's about creating pro-Semitism and sharing the truth. There's nothing inevitable about anti-Semitism. We just need to tell our story with confidence, pride, and love. We believe that telling the truth, exposing the lies, and sharing the wisdom and beauty found within the Jewish story and the ideas of Judaism can transform the world. We're reaching millions of people all around the world from all backgrounds and perspectives. Every day we are transforming people's views about Israel, Jews, and Judaism. How do we know? Because they tell us. But there's so much more we can do. It's time for us to build a team to accelerate our growth and produce way more content that can appeal to even more people. We want to hire more presenters, start doing documentary series, and way more. And if we do that, JTV will start competing with the other big media players who peddle anti-Israel narratives. And that's where you come in. I'm asking you to please partner with us on our journey to spread the truth to the entire world by donating whatever you can to this fundraiser. Together, we will harness the power of social media to shine the light of truth to the whole world. Thank you so much for your support. We have to get the truth out there. It's so important. And that's why, as you can see here in this little text, we're doing a campaign right now. It's only lasting for just a day or two more. And we need all the help we can get. I'll show you the campaign page right now, and then I'll explain the purpose of the page. So here it is. This is our campaign page. I'll put the link in the video description. And we really need your help to grow JTV. We're going to use the funds to do more documentaries, explanatory videos, animation videos, get more presenters, and really compete more seriously with the anti-Israel online media that's out there and overwhelming. And it's just the media, politicians, everyone. So we need your help. Please chip in to give us the resources, the tools to spread the word, share the truth to a world that desperately, desperately needs it. I'm really counting on your support. If you please be one of those people that doesn't just watch, but also contributes to our cause.
I need the sources. There are four main sources of Islam all Muslims agree on. What are the four sources?
You have Sunnah, you have Hadith, right? You have Quran, right?
That's not it. That's not it. You forgot Qiyas and Ijma'. So please sit down and listen. Please sit down and listen. I don't have phobia of Islam. I was born in Islam. You cannot tell a cup that they have a phobia of cats, because this is their environment. You know, you tell somebody who never been to the situation Islamophobic. But I, as a son of the religion, I don't have a phobia. I have the right to rebel. I have the birthright to rebel. I tell you something. I don't mind speaking to him after the event if this is what he wants. Okay, and I don't mind actually debating someone. But the thing is, when you accuse someone, you must support. You know, you accuse me of Islamophobia. This is a big accusation. How can I be Islamophobic if this is my natural environment? You know, you cannot tell a fish that a fish is afraid of water.
Well,
you know,
why don't you have the last word?
Let me just respond very, very quickly. I don't believe that Islamophobia is a helpful word, right? I think bigotry towards Muslims may be a better one, right? But I'm just using the word that most people understand. When I say that, people know what I'm talking about, right? That's all I'm saying. But we can have this conversation. I wouldn't dwell over the semantics right now, but we can have this conversation more in depth.
Okay, but also you need to understand.
Thank you. And I think Mr. Yusuf is saying he's not a bigot.
If it was a different function, okay, and I can talk Islam with you all day long. I have no fear. I have no problem of discussing religion, criticizing religion. It's our freedom in this country. You know, people criticize Christianity, criticize Judaism. They make fun of the gods. Why cannot I make the fun of the gods, you know, that I was brought up? But anyway, this is not the right place. Look, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be offensive to anybody, but thank you for bringing the topic. We were focusing on Gaza. You tell me that you're from Sudan. You're about like 2,000 miles away. Have you ever been to Palestine or to Israel? You've never been there. So you shake your head when I said the black situation in the territories in denial, but you've never been there. Okay. Look, man, I like to build bridges, but false accusations I don't like. And I don't like hypocrisy. I like free people who don't hide in the crowd.
I'm sorry, we really have to end.
So that's the conversation you see there. And Mossab is obviously very clear and uncompromising. The thing that I just want to point out is we hear for so long about it's just a tiny minority. You've got to separate the Islamists and the rest of the Muslim community. Now, we just saw a poll that came out in Britain. It was pretty comprehensive, and it found out that when it comes to the British Muslim community, only 1 in 4 believe that Hamas committed murder and rape in Israel on October 7th. 75% of them don't even believe it. They think it's just an Israeli conspiratorial lie. That's in Britain. The vast majority of the British Muslim community believe anti-Semitic conspiracies, let alone in the Middle East. I mean, we know in Gaza, for example, and Judea and Samaria, the Arabs there, you have 71% plus continued support for what they did on October 7th. And frankly, even if it is a minority that's prepared to be complicit in or support radical tactics, Islamism, terrorism, all the rest of it, even though it sounds like it's not such a minority anymore. But even if it was, that would still be a huge amount of people. And so trying to constantly bury our heads in the sand, as it seems this student is suggesting we do, is just the path to destruction. So Mossab has shown us that you have to be absolutely bold and clear and say the hard truths. It seems that many people don't want to say hard truths. They prefer to live in fantasy, even if it's the conventional lines that they're touting. A lot of it is often touting falsehoods. Talking of two-state solutions, when every time Israel's tried to do that, it's been a disaster. They've got rejection from the Palestinian side. To me, it's ideological to not look at that reality and shift your position accordingly. It's not ideological to say, okay, right, we're going to change tactics and we're going to go more hardline. That's just being sane. It's important that we remember to look objectively at things and choose the sane path.